Here we are up at the entrance. It's quite a nice sunny day up here down in Sydney for where I've just travelled from. It's not the best. But what I've done is I've come up here to show you today how to put various different types of baits on that I use when I go fishing for flathead, for brim, for snapper, for whiting, for tailor, for salmon, for kingfish, for leather jackets, whether it be in the estuary or whether it be off the shore, outside. It might be that you go up the river, right? So I'm going to go through them. I've got to pick the first one up first, and I reckon that most probably about 80% of you would fish with a prawn the way I'm going to show you now. What you do is you put it on the hook and you'd have it presented like that. Now that would have to be one of the worst ways of fishing with a prawn, because you might think that you're doing the right thing, but what you'll do is you'll come back and you won't feel the bites, but you'll end up come back with something like this on the end of your hook, where all you've got is just a little bit of shell left and there's no prawn. You haven't even felt the bite. So what I do with my prawns is that I peel them. Now I don't waste the bait. In other words, this part here I chop up and put it into the burley trail and throw it out. But when I put a peeled prawn on, I use a 1/0 hook. It's a bait keeper, so it's got some little markings on the end here, little barbs. That helps hold it on. I've got here 6 kilo line, and all I do is I thread it on. Make sure that I have the hook point out. It's imperative that you have the hook point out. And then where I've got some line here, all I do is just a half hitch around the tail. And that's it. That's all you need to do to fish for brim, for flathead, for whiting, right in the estuaries, or some of the close onshore reefs. What you would do from there is that you would get a sinker. You would put a sinker and the sinker would drop right down onto the top of the bait. Now I've just shown you how to put a peeled prawn onto a 1/0 hook, right, with the bait keeper hook on it with the half hitch over the end. A prawn, right, will swim along like that, and then it'll kick in underneath and it'll move, it'll kick, it'll move, it'll kick. The best way I find when using a whole prawn like this, dead, is that I get me 1/0 hook, I come back in about the second, about 10 millimeters in from the end, a centimetre, feed it in, and as I said before, a lot of you would fish with it like this. What I do is I push it right through, push the hook point so the hook point's out. Don't worry about coming into the head. And then I do not one, but I do 2 half hitches around the back end and then the tail, and then sometimes I might even drop a third one in there. And that's how I would fish with a whole prawn with the shell on. Either feed it out into the burley trail out the back of your boat, or put it on your rig that might be 1 to 2 metres and it's in fast running water. And what you'll find is that that'll float around in the water, right, and the brim will come up, even the flathead, even the snapper, right, will come up and take that. The main point is I've got my hook point out of the bait and I've got those half hitches. Now look, if that half hitch comes off, right, I've still got 2 more half hitches on there, and if the head comes off, right, like I'm just pulling it off here now, see how the prawn stayed straight, right, the hook point is still out, but with those half hitches there, it's hung it all together. And that's how I would fish, right, a whole prawn. But if I was good enough, which sometimes I am, I get out there and I catch some live prawns, right, it's not real hard. I just come back in, about the same position, and that's it. That's how I'd fish with them live.